We Brits are a nation of compulsive collectors. Across the country, there are storage units crammed with clutter. Bulging barns and jam-packed garages.
Wow, you got a lot of stuff, Dad.
Home to dreams.
I haven't seen that for so many years.
Memories.
So who did this belong to then?
And excess baggage. And we're drowning in it.
You've got some stuff in here, haven't you?
But among the debris and disorder,
Heavens above, I've never seen so many rings.
my mission is to uncover the stories,
They were your grandmother's. Yeah.
find the hidden gems,
There's £1,000 there.
and turn the mess into money.
180, 190, 200.
Our first calamitous collector is John Culliford. His hoard has cost him more than £3,500 over the past 2.5 years. For his partner Leslie, it's got to stop. So how did he get in this hoarding hole?
Hoarding seems to run in the family because my mother hoarded quite a lot and I've inherited that. And I work on the basis really that at some time in the future it's going to be useful and I'll have some use for it. But that's never actually happened.
John lives in North Wales in the town of Denbigh, which means Little Fortress in Welsh, and lies in the heart of the picturesque Clwydian range. But his storage problem started a long time ago and many miles away.
Most of the items that are in the unit, they do hold a story. They've been inherited from grandmother or my great-aunt.
John used to live in London in a large Victorian house, ample space for the cherished hand-me-downs and heirlooms of several generations.
There's very little there really that doesn't possess some memory, and that's my excuse for hoarding it, really.
But once he downsized to Denbigh, his collections turned to clutter. And it's not just an inherited haul. John's got a stash of his own, including his prized toy trains and cars.
In the house, probably got 20 trains and about 40 buses. But the majority of the trains and the buses are in storage. Lots of them are boxed and even unopened. And then there are another 50 or 80 that have been opened and they're just wrapped up in tissue paper.
But John's starting to realise he's in danger of leaving his own unwanted storage inheritance.
I really need to pull my socks up and get rid of some of the items. If I leave it all and die, someone's got to clear it all out.
Partner Leslie has lived with John's hoarding habits for the past 18 years.
I feel that John's storage has become like a heavy brick around his neck, a past that he's taken wherever we've gone. It's always been there, lurking in the background. It's almost like it's the ghost of his family following us around everywhere. He's not been able to let go of his past history.
Sometimes I think it's worth £500, sometimes I think it's worth 1,000, and on a bad day I think that it's worth nothing.
But if John does succeed in turning his trash into cash, he's hoping to be on track for a trip.
If we're fortunate enough to raise some money from the sale of these items, I think we'd put that towards a trip up to Scotland. If we did get more than was anticipated, we'd be tempted, I think, to probably go on a cruise.
Will I be able to persuade John he needs to clear out his clutter? It's time to get stuck in.
I'm a little nervous at the thought of what you're going to see inside and the embarrassment of it all, really.
Don't be embarrassed.
Disposing of some things here, it's not good.
Oh!
At first glance, it seems a neat and orderly hoard.
So, can we go in and see what's here?
But a closer look reveals all kinds of oddities like...
Oh, vintage television.
Well, yeah, it is a vintage. That's why I'm keeping it. One of the first...
That's why you're watching it?
Keeping it. And it's very nice. It doesn't work at the moment.
So we're off to a great start, aren't we, John?
Yeah, I know. What do you think? What do you think then?
So, anything you're thinking of not keeping?
Well... I don't know, I sort of...
John's got a unique take on cycling, recycling that is.
Now look at that with the wheel on and restored.
Yes.
John's not really into restoring,
No,
that's why it doesn't get restored.
It would have to be done professionally, I think.
Yes.
I'm limited to my abilities as to what I can do with it.
Time to get on your bike, John, and get down to business.
So what's the answer then, do you think?
Well, I don't like to say, really.
Go on, try and say it.
You've got to be dumped.
Really?
I think it has.
Good start.
There's a lifetime of clutter in here, and the sooner they get it out, the better.
I'll be back later, OK?
All right,
Carry on
okay.
with the good work, John.
All right, then.
That'll give them a chance to see exactly what they've got. Our next hoarder in need is Nikki Looker. She's racked up costs of nearly £2,000 in under 2 years. Husband Ross thinks enough is enough. So where did she get her collection of clutter?
I got it when my mum passed away. My great aunt came to live with us. We moved house, and another great aunt and uncle had passed away. We didn't have enough room to store 4 houses worth of stuff, so the solution was to put it in storage.
Nikki lives near Banbury in the heart of the country, and her storage problem is causing a drama all of its own.
When I think about it in my head, all I can see is a wall of cardboard. It's constantly at the back of my mind that this stuff is sitting in a storage unit, waiting for me to go through it.
It's anyone's guess what's hiding in her unit, but for Nikki, it holds a lot of memories.
From my family home, it's stuff from living there for 30 years. There's a lot of memories, a lot of emotion. My mum died just over 2 years ago, and it's only now, this year really, that I've found the strength, I suppose, to start going through it.
But it's not just her mum and great-aunt stuff causing the problem. Husband Ross thinks Nikki has a storage habit of her own.
I understand why the unit is there. Nikki's never really been one for throwing things out anyway.
Do you even know what's in that storage unit anymore?
Truthfully, I can't really remember 100% what's in there. I didn't think I was a hoarder until I married Ross.
There's nothing wrong with keeping the special stuff. But not everything is the special stuff.
When we moved, I had over 250 pairs of shoes.
Nikki is definitely a hoarder. There's no question about it.
This is our spare room. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of room to move around in here at the moment.
It's quite daunting when you think about how much we've spent on that unit over the years. I understand why it's there and why she hasn't been able to clear it out, but yeah, when you think about it, it's quite a scary amount of money.
If Nikki can ditch her storage, what will she do with the money saved?
I would very much like to kind of remodel the garden. So here, I'd like to have a seating area, something that we can all benefit from as a family would be lovely.
Can I persuade Nikki to clear out her hand-me-down hoard? Time to come face to face with her emotional baggage.
So, how are you feeling?
Very apprehensive.
You think you're in for a shock?
Absolutely. Oh dear.
How are you?
Wow.
It's not a good first impression.
Yeah.
What are you seeing, first of all?
I'm seeing all my train set stuff and my dad's cricket bat.
So, should we just start to get it out?
Sure.
Yeah, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, look, we've got lots of cards here.
Dear.
So what's this? French for adults. That sounds interesting.
Anyone for tennis?
I don't think that would be much use.
Not with these.
What's this?
Do you know, I don't know.
You don't know?
It came out of my great uncle's house.
Oh, right.
I think it's something photographic.
How weird.
With 4 houses worth of hand-me-downs, there really is a mixed bag of items here. But does Nikki know what's hidden away?
Do you think you'll know when you come across it what you want to keep?
I think...
You're looking at Ross.
Ross wants me to get rid of everything.
Do you, Ross?
A lot of it, I personally think, is stuff for stuff's sake. There may be some really precious stuff in here, but I think 95% of it is just things.
Ross's theory is if I haven't touched it in 2 years, it can't be worth keeping.
Yes. And what would you say about Ross's theory?
Ross's theory's rubbish.
I'm with Ross on that one. Nikki has stacks to sort, and I want her to get everything out to see her collection in the cold light of day.
Brilliant. Very nearly there. I'll let you carry on with the rest of it and I'll be back soon.
OK, brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Coming up, Nikki comes face to face with the contents of her unit.
Oh, my days.
Has John been sitting on a fortune?
Well, there's one more item, which is in this room, which is fantastic.
And can they turn their stash into cash at auction? I've been helping two hapless hoarders. Earlier, we met Magpie John, who's amassed a unit full of a lifetime's collecting.
So what's the answer then, do you think?
Well, I don't like to say, really.
Go on, try and say it.
You've got to be dumped.
And emotional hoarder Nikki, who's been hanging on to generations' worth of hand-me-down clutter.
Ross's theory is if I haven't touched it in 2 years, it can't be worth keeping.
Later, I'll be asking our antiques experts to help our hoarders sort through their unwanted items and see if there's anything of value to take to auction. To help them come to terms with their collections, they need to get everything out of their unit so they can see exactly what they've got. I found them the space and brought in some extra muscle to help. I want them to split their possessions into categories. Keep it for those really sentimental pieces, skip it for anything old or broken, or sell it for the items they think could be of value. I've also added a charity area where they can put anything that's too good to chuck. With everything finally out of the unit, it's a chance to see exactly what they've been storing. John's got an intriguing hoard of ancient and modern. While Nikki's is a real jumble, it'll be hard to see if there's anything of value in this lot. Time for John and Leslie to get stuck in.
Oh, gracious, this looks different. What's happened here, then? Goodness me. Oh, dear.
You want to start over there first?
What's this here? What's that? Is that worth keeping?
No.
With Leslie leading the charge, they are off to a good start.
What, do we throw it away? Or?
Yes.
All the heads come off as well.
But it does get mended.
Yeah,
Can mend it. I mended it before. Put it for sale.
For sale or for the charity?
I think for sale.
You're going to put that for sale?
Sale.
Over for the sale. You go to the charity shop?
We can try a charity shop, I think.
But if they're going to have a debate about every single item, then we'll be here all day. Time to move things on a bit.
Oh, a few things going to charity.
It's a bit hard making the decisions, really.
Oh, really? You surprised me.
Every time we come in, it might come in,
be useful.
and it all gets left.
It's not hard to see how junk lover John has ended up in this mess.
Keep this, you know, this is from my great aunt.
You're keeping that? What are you going to do with it, John?
Play with the buttons.
Yeah. Logically, it should go, but...
Oh, logic speaks. Thank you very much. We'll put this to charity.
Result! And some of these items are definitely better flushed away.
Whose was that? Well,
grandmother's, I should think, or great-grandmother's. That's an old potty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we'll be using it.
No.
Though there are some real gems hiding among the potties and pin boxes.
Oh, my goodness. All these tools.
Well, these are all
Who did they belong
antique
to?
tools. These belong to my grandfather.
Did they? What did he do?
He was a carpenter's pattern maker at the beginning of the 1900s. And these are all his old tools.
Were you close to him?
Yeah, it was really. He was a dear old man.
Oh.
John's even getting to grips with his prized model bus collection.
We can get rid of that. Here we go.
You've got a lot that you want to keep already, haven't you?
I'm not going to need these anymore.
But in among the junk, there's an old family Bible that John is looking for.
Here we are. This is
Yeah?
it. Now, someone told me
Oh, my goodness, it's massive.
It's a big one. I don't know how we came across this, or my auntie came across it, because we're not of the cloth at all. Somebody said it's got some value, and it needs some restoration work done to it. So this has been in the family, as I say, for over 100 years.
I think this is an interesting old family heirloom, so I've sent them off to meet Gary Mosdell, who's been trading in rare books for 50 years. Perhaps he can give them chapter and verse on their biblical baggage.
First of all, that would have been the original owner, 1783.
Yes.
Is Barker in the family?
No, that name means
so
absolutely
it would have been-
nothing to me at all.
Then we have another inscription here, which is Mary Swaddling, her book, 1829. And there's a rather nice little note here, actually. Be a friend to all, foe to none, be kind to all, and love but one.
Would this been a wedding present, possibly, to...
Very possibly, yes, yeah. Printed in Edinburgh. In fact, the date of the book is 1777.
Rare Bibles can be very valuable. A 1631 printing of the King James Version is known as the Wicked Bible, omitting the all-important word not from one of the 10 Commandments and rendering the verse as, "Thou shalt commit adultery." All 1,000 copies were ordered to be destroyed, but a handful escaped destruction. One of these could set you back over £100,000. So, does John have a biblical bonanza on his hands?
Now, the big problem is the binding. As you can see, the spine, everything really in a very bad way, and that dramatically affects the value.
So what would be the value do you place on that?
Well, there is one copy in really nice condition available in the States. It's about £500. But I think that is an optimistic figure. But the older Bibles, there are so many of them that they are quite hard to sell. We would find them hard to sell. It's not the sort of book that I would want to buy myself.
So really, this is almost for the dustbin. It has little value, but is that worth putting into an auction, or?
I would say you'll be taking a chance on it.
Really?
Yeah.
I hope John wasn't praying for a big payout.
I'm not surprised that it has no value at all, really, and I'm just going to put it in the bottom drawer. Pity it's not worth £1 million, but there we are.
Nicky and Ross seem a little more daunted.
Oh, my days. OK.
I think it's grown.
It looks worse. What am I meant to do with it?
There's no point keeping it at all.
No, I'm not suggesting keeping it.
Right.
We don't... one person needs this many bowls.
No. Put it down, put it away.
You're not meant to pick on me.
I'm not picking on you.
Charity.
Steady but firm.
I think it's time I give a bit of direction.
Hello.
Hello.
Won't ask you, I'll ask Ross. How's it going?
Not bad, actually. We've only kept one bowl so far.
OK.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah, really
horrible. Tell me why it's so horrible.
It's just everything's got a memory and it's really nasty. Not nasty memories, just not
Nasty
very
feelings
nice.
that you're having to deal with.
Nicky needs to step back from her inherited hole and take a deep breath.
So, what do you know all this stuff is?
No, I don't.
Really?
No.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it?
This was from my great uncle's house, so I have no idea what's in here. And
All right, so there's no sentiment attached, really, is there?
No, not at all to this.
But not everything of Great Uncle Norman's is so easily dealt with.
I like the frame. So I'd like to keep the frame,
Yes.
I think.
And would you use the frame?
Yeah.
I'd say that wasn't a very convincing yes, was it, Ross?
No, we've got a massive box of picture frames at home that are just waiting to be filled.
He says with his arms folded.
Can we think about it?
No,
Come back.
do you know what? We actually can't. We've got to be decisive here.
Nicky's finally getting to grips with her hoard. But in among the junk, there's still the odd gem or two.
Oh, what have we got here?
Big bag of jewellery.
Oh, how exciting! Oh, my goodness. Is there rings in all these boxes?
Yeah.
That is
all rings, I
amazing.
think.
And are these from, like, your mum and your...
Yeah.
So, oh, for heaven's
They're
sake.
That's my mum's wedding.
No.
ring.
What a tiny,
Yeah.
tiny finger. That's incredible. Do you remember your mum wearing any of this jewellery?
Yeah, these are the ones she wore all the time.
Ah, right.
So they're
Right, wow.
they're a bit special emotionally for me.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to probably get it valued and...
These gold rings. That's just phenomenal.
Time is running out for our collectors. It's heads down if we want to decide what is worth going to auction.
You don't want it, do you?
No, not really. Put it on that charity pile.
Time for John and Leslie to make those final sticky decisions.
There's sweets in here.
Would you like a sweet?
Not one that's 4 years out of date.
Oh.
That's all.
Oh, that's
I think we know where this is going, don't we?
This pair are galloping towards the finish line.
Somebody would love those. Some collector.
Are they all horses in there now, then?
Yeah.
At last. And the sell pile is building fast. Ross is clearly very happy with the growing skip pile.
In the corner. Go.
But Nikki's having trouble putting the finishing touches to her sell pile. And there's one item she's come across which is in danger of derailing her decluttering.
You and your dad had a train set.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, it was mine originally. This was the first set, this Intercity 125, when I was about 6.
Oh, did you love it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of grew from there, and Dad and I used to spend hours up in the loft. And
Really?
yeah, had a massive thing all round the loft.
Oh, God, that's amazing, because that must have been a massive part of your childhood.
Yeah, it was. We spent a lot of time up there. Good memories. Just don't know what to do with it, really.
Yes.
I don't know where to start.
Well, I think probably if we put it on the sell pile, if you're in agreement.
Yep,
And then
absolutely.
we can maybe take some advice on that.
Yep, sure.
Yeah?
So it looks like our old train set might be shunted out of the sidings after all. Time's up. Both pairs have managed to sort their items into keep, skip, and sell piles. Not much in John's keep pile, but skip, charity, and sell look pretty healthy. And despite the emotional pull, Nikki's managed quite a haul for sale. But more importantly, are there any hidden treasures buried among them? Coming up, will John's stash impress our expert?
It's so delicate, so elegant.
And his haul comes under the hammer.
That's very good. That's good.
Earlier we met toy collector and clutter fan John, whose lifetime's hoarding has reached a crisis and cost him more than £3,500 over the past 2.5 years. And Nikki, who's been storing the 4 houses worth of family heirlooms and accumulated articles for nearly 2 years to the tune of almost £2,000. Now it's time to see if there's anything of value hiding away in their hoards. I've asked antiques expert Paul Hayes to look through John's items. So what's he found in this collection of clutter?
One of the oldest things you have has to be this beautiful bureau here, isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
So 1718 is the real date.
That's the real date. It says Anno 1718, and it also says in here Velis and Remis, which means sail and oar. And that stands for an effort, a push together. Sail, we put everything into it. That was
Oh,
the
really?
idea.
I didn't know that.
And that's a good quality 18th century bureau. What a fantastic thing. If that came to auction, you're looking at least 300 up to about the £500 mark. I think that's a great selling item. So I take it then, Leslie, this is your bust collection.
My bust collection.
A lot of these sort of modern toys and models were made for a collector's market. And the market does tend to be in the original toys that were designed to be played with, and there's far fewer of them. And, you know, you can get a good dinky toy, it's almost like having a classic car now.
Yes, yes.
Well, if I said sort of £70 to £100 to give them a chance, I mean... All right, but a good bet, actually, is the horses. A firm called Beswick, or Beswick, a Staffordshire manufacturer, and they can range from anywhere from £30 each up to several £100. So you've at least £200 upwards there, and I'd be surprised if they didn't go for a bit more.
That's interesting.
But there's one more item which is in this room which is fantastic, and that's the settee. Tell me about the settee over there.
Well, that was acquired in a derelict state, really, in the early 70s.
Right.
And it's, I call it Sheraton couch, but I'd be interested to know what you feel about the value.
Well,
really.
you hit the nail on the head when you said it's a Sheraton settee. Thomas Sheraton is one of Britain's best-known furniture designers. They can't actually attribute one piece of furniture to him, but he designed all the furniture of the period, and it was the height of fashion.
When was this?
This is the late 18th century. So you look in 1780, 1800, that sort of 20 years.
So that would have been made then?
That would have been made then. And what I love about that style, it's so delicate, so elegant. That settee is £1,000 worth.
Is that?
Yeah, I mean, if I estimate that between £800 and £1,200, I mean, how does that sound?
In one way, I'm not surprised, but in another I am. You know, we love it, and when you tend to love a piece of furniture, you inflate the value, I think, in your mind. But it's quite pleasing to know that it might achieve that sort of money, really.
Yes.
The fact we're talking about it with such enthusiasm tells you how nice that is, really. And I think in the right hands, that's a great, great item. There we go.
Have you surprised yourself at how easily you've been able to let go?
Yeah, in some ways I have, really, because I've held them for such a long time. But it has been in my mind, maybe,
Obviously
to move them, but
ready
I've always rejected the idea. But having looked at them now in detail yourself, I can see that they need to be moved on, you know.
Good for you.
With Leslie's support, John has done a surprisingly good job letting go of some of his precious collections. Among the items that Paul has chosen for auction is the antique bureau with an estimate of £300 to £500. A selection of John's model buses valued at £70 to £100. A collection of Beswick horses with a £200 to £300 estimate. And that beautiful Sheraton couch with an £800 to £1,200 estimate. Paul has also selected a G-plan table, a portable Scandinavian desk, a cheval mirror, the carved head bracket that John and Leslie found, and a Victorian oil painting which she has estimated at £50 to £100. That's a healthy haul to take to auction, but John's granddad's old tools need a bit of special attention. So I've sent them off to see Tom Collinge, whose firm has been at the heart of the antiques trade in North Wales for the past 30 years.
They definitely belong to a carpenter as opposed to a metalworker, you know, I'd agree with that. And also there's some moulding planes in here, which obviously we use for cabinet making. There's quite a lot of these shorter bladed tools, which are actually for the lathe. These are all different shapes for doing different types of mouldings, you see. A couple of the items have got actually the names stamped on them.
Yes.
With the growing interest in traditional artisan skills, there's a market in antique workman's tools, both with collectors and with craftsmen who want to actually use them. Prices can go from a few pounds to thousands for a rare 18th century tool made by a celebrated manufacturer.
When I've gone through yours, there's some lovely tools, some lovely old tools. They've obviously been used and they've got some love and thing. But there's nothing of any major value. What you've got here in value is the amount. Certainly if you were going to put them into auction or you were going to think of selling them, to have a sort through them, you know, they could tell a few stories, I'm sure.
I think so, yeah.
With no sale at the specialist, this is one item that John has decided to hang on to. Perhaps it's time for a bit of DIY, John?
Well, that was really very interesting. I was surprised at some of the values. So what we're going to do is take the toolboxes home, have a little think about it, and I think ultimately we'll give them a little clean up and sell them.
Next stop for John is Criterion Auctions of London to see if the rest of his stash can raise enough cash to take Leslie on that well-earned trip.
Is there anything on that list that you've got particular feeling about, you know, good feeling about?
The desk.
The desk.
And the Sheraton couch, I've got a good feeling about.
Have you now? OK about selling it?
Just going to say, don't ask us, we might change our minds.
No.
You don't sound so sure, John. With the bidding about to begin, there's just time to hear what auctioneer Addison Gelpie thinks.
John Culliford, he's got a nice collection of Beswick horses, actually. Sometimes they can make some good money there. They're all in really good condition, and it's a large collection, so hopefully that'll do well. He's also got a large collection of Routemaster double-decker buses. They're all cased. I mean, they're all in boxes, original boxes, which is a positive, but there's not that many collectors of them. If they were dinky toys, then they'd make a little bit more money. Lot 81.
First up is the Victorian oil painting, valued at £50 to £100.
Any advance on £40? 50 on the internet. I'm out now. Any advance on 50? I'm going to sell at £50. £55 comes next. I'm going to sell at £50.
Okay.
£50, below the estimate, but at least we're off. Next is the Oak Bureau with an estimate of £300 to £500.
I have interest here at 220, 240. Any advance on 240? Okay. Any advance on £240? Any advance on 240? Needs to be a bit more.
Sadly, it doesn't reach the reserve of £300. So it's fingers crossed for that distinctive carved bracket valued at £40 to £70.
£50 and 5. One more takes it, sir. 60, I'm out. £60, 65 on the phone, 70 in the room. Do we have any advance on... And 5 on the phone.
No, that's
75 on the phone. Do we have 80 anywhere? Fair warning at £75.
Oh, that was good. No, that was a good price.
That's more like it. The G-Plan table and chairs sells for its lower estimate of £150. The Scandinavian desk with an estimate of £50 to £80 makes £55. And the Cheval mirror also sold for its lower estimate of £70. It's all adding up nicely. Next is John's precious collection of model buses valued at £70 to £100.
£55 and £60. And 5, 75, 80,
he's interested,
85
this guy here.
90, and 5.
He's very keen.
110, 120. 120 with you, Mum. Any advance on 120? At £120? Sold.
That is good, isn't it? 120.
£120, just the ticket. It's starting to add up. Next, under starters orders, the Beswick horses, valued at £200 to £300.
Any advance on 300? 320, 340 with me. 400, 420 here. 470, 500 on the internet. Any advance on 500? I'm out.
That's amazing.
530. 550 now on the internet. 550. Do we have 600? Any advance on 550? Selling at 550. Thank you, internet.
Oh, that was...
Nearly double the estimate. Finally, it's that beautiful Sheraton couch. So, are you sitting comfortably, John?
800 in the room now. 850 I'll take. 900 in the room now. 950 I'll take. 1,000 in the room now. 1,100 I'll take. At 1,100. 1,002 now. At £1,200. Fair and final warning at £1,200.
What do you reckon to that?
That's good.
That is amazing. £1,200. Perhaps they need to rethink those holiday plans after all.
Tell me what you had in mind for the money that you saved there.
Well, I think a holiday, do you? We'll have a chat.
Probably a holiday.
OK, she's coming round to the idea, John.
I think she will in the end. A little
We'll
bit of a
persuade
pushing,
her,
yes, yes.
John has sold 8 items at auction, including the Beswick horses for £550 and the Sheraton couch for £1,200. After commission, John has made an incredible £2,043, and if he carries on and clears his unit, he'll save over £1,400 a year.
Yes, this has helped me get rid of a lot of stuff that I've had for very many years, 40 years, some of it. So it's greatly helped me to declutter, and I'll try not to get into this situation again.
Do you think you'll miss any of that stuff, John?
I thought I would, but now I've seen it go, I don't think I will miss it now. No, it's behind me and I can move forward onto other things.
Excellent.
It's been a real struggle for a lifelong collector, John, but I think he's kicked the hoarding habit and should be able to treat Leslie to that well-earned trip. Coming up, has Nikki unearthed a treasure trove?
Isn't that incredible? You're right.
And can she convert the rest of her stash to cash at auction? I've been helping 2 obsessive collectors come to terms with their hidden hoards. Earlier, John managed to make a whopping £2,000 at auction by attacking his collection of clutter and is well on the way to treating partner Leslie to a much-needed holiday. Now it's time to catch up with Nikki, who spent nearly £2,000 storing the contents of 4 houses for nearly 2 years. Nikki's hoping to rid herself of her storage habit and spend any cash she can make on a garden overhaul. I've called on antiques expert Paul Hayes to look through her items and help her sort her storage once and for all. So, has Nikki inherited a fortune within her hand-me-down haul?
Well, I must admit, I really enjoyed going through all these items for the main reason you've got a fantastic train set here. Look at that. Whose is this?
That's mine.
Did you have a proper layout?
Yeah, all over the loft.
Right. A layout's what they call it. Yeah, I know these things. There's a massive following for anything train related. And this is a 00 set or 00 set, and that goes from the size of the gauge of the track.
Okay.
All right. Hornby is probably the big name that people tend to collect. But what I like, not only have you got engines and turntables, you've got stations, bridges, and some of those are more collectible actually than some of the engines themselves, you know.
Okay.
But one thing I loved as well actually is all the photographic equipment. Who was the photographer?
That's my great uncle.
These have become sort of cult collector's items, you know, a bit of 70s memorabilia. But also you've got these items now. The collectors these days love these additional lenses. So you've got a great lot of photographic equipment projected everything together. All right, so I put that lot in between £70 and £120 to give that a chance. Talking of almost photographic stuff, we've got some postcards. Now, this postcard album is great. Who collected all these, you know? Look at this.
Again, I think it's my great uncle's.
Right. Now, what I love about this, it seems to be all relating to the one family and the one period. It's all around the First World War.
Oh, God.
Sort of time. You know, you've even got the guy there looking in the trenches sending his loved one back a postcard, which is what used to happen. But people love to see these little insights, little capsules of time, really. So that's a nice little collector's item. So that's £40 to £70, that little lot there. And then you come on to dinner sets and tea sets. What was going on here?
My mum could cater for hundreds at a time.
Really?
Yeah.
Were there lots of parties going on in your house?
Yeah,
Oh,
a lot.
how
Yeah, it was
lovely.
lovely growing
Do you
up
like
with
that?
lots of family and friends round all the time.
I mean, there are various qualities and various ages. This is probably one of the most recent, sort of 1960s, 1970s, but it's Royal Worcester, and this would have been very expensive when it's being produced. This is real gold leaf that we used to do, and you know, it's a good range from Worcester, and that's maybe £50 to £80, I think a bit more on the day.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
Sounds like you're going to make some money here.
Yeah, let's hope so.
It's been a tough process for Nikki to sort through her inherited stash, but Paul has picked out some great items to take to auction. He has selected the collection of Royal Worcester with an estimate of £50 to £80, the photo album, which is valued at £40 to £70, the collection of photographic equipment, which is valued at £70 to £120, and Nikki and her dad's model trains, which is given an estimate of £150 to £200. He's also spotted a collection of Wedgwood china, which is given a £60 to £100 estimate, and a set of silver butter knives, which is valued at £40 to £60. That's a fine lot, but pride of place goes to Nikki's incredible collection of jewellery.
I've never seen the like.
I haven't gone through them.
No.
I think what we need to do is to go to a jeweller, get him to assess the carat weight. There are some good diamonds in there, some good gold rings, so I think you're going to be quite surprised.
I've never seen a haul like it, so I've sent them off to see David Johnson, whose firm has been trading in all things shiny and sparkly in Birmingham's famous jewellery quarter for 30 years. So has he been dazzled by Nikki's bag of bling?
So
Shall I start?
Yes, why not? It might be good. Right, there's quite a lot to go through. Have you got a bit of time?
Are you,
all right?
have you got a couple of days free? I can tell this type of lot is going to have costume, it's going to have some diamonds, it's going to have some synthetic stones. It needs sorting properly. You see that straight away. You can tell that's not diamond. See how white and cloudy they
So
are.
if my husband buys me a ring like that, just don't accept it.
Send it back. It's a diamond. It is a diamond. It's not a great diamond, but it's a good colour.
The two most important factors when selling jewellery are whether it's fashionable and is therefore resaleable, and the metal content. The key factor is the price of gold at the time of sale, which in the last 5 years has increased by around 50%. So in the right market, a watch or ring with a lot of precious metal can increase significantly in value. So, has Nikki struck gold?
Right, here we go.
I think we've been able to sort all this and come to some figures now. The Diamond Gents solitaire, I would value that today at £550. There you've got 2 half sovereigns mounted in 9-carat gold. That's £176. Those two. 22 carats, 2 wedding rings, £156.
Isn't that incredible? Are you all right? Are you OK?
18 carat, mixed bag.
18 carats. With some stones in there, some diamonds, comes to £1,014. Jesus Christ. And now we come to the 9 carats, £1,905.
Goodness gracious.
And if you reckon that, and the diamond ring, that would come to £4,000.
Goodness me.
So it's crunch time. I mean, is it something that you wanted to do, or is it something you wanted to think about for a bit, or how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I would like, other than that, I think...
Keep that one?
To sell that, I'd be very happy.
No problem at all, Nikki. An absolute pleasure. £3,445. How would you like to be paid? Cheque or cash?
£5 notes.
That's amazing, and to think it was just hiding in bags in Nikki's store.
I was really amazed at the value of it and absolutely thrilled.
Next stop is the auction to see if Nikki can find new homes for the rest of her items, and in doing so, turn clutter into cash.
So you're off to a brilliant start.
Yeah.
Here we are at auction, still more stuff to sell. Is there anything here that you're not very sure about letting go of?
I'm hoping that the train set does well, because that has the most sentiment attached to it. So, but I'm learning to get over that. So,
how would you feel about other stuff not being sold and having to take that back home?
I'll answer that first. I'll be very happy.
Really?
I'd be less happy.
She jumps right in, doesn't she?
I'd personally take it home and throw it out.
OK, so maybe we'll have that discussion later on.
I think so.
Best.
With the auction about to start, there's just time to get the thoughts of auctioneer William Rouse.
Nikki had a good selection of model train-related equipment, and that is something that is always easy to sell. There's always a demand for that. There are plenty of people with trains in their attics and they want to buy more bits. I think there's sufficient variety in Nikki's lots to ensure that she does have a few results today.
Sounds promising. Time for the bidding to start. First up is Nikki's childhood train set, valued at up to £200.
Bid £55 straight in, 60, 65. £65 for all the train stuff, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, £100 to my left, and £100. Are you all done and finished? 110 there. 110 in the middle, in the button-back chair. At £110, 110. 192.
£110. Below the estimate, but at least we're on the right track. The collection of Wedgwood china, valued at £60 to £100, sells for £50, and the silver butter knives, estimated at £40 to £60, go for £40. Next is the Royal Worcester set, valued at £50 to £80.
At £70, 75, 80, with me at £80 for the tureen and cover and other bits and pieces. At £80, you're all done for 80. 80 to 30.
That's more like it, right at the top of the estimate. Next is the collection of photographic equipment.
Straight in of £75, with me at 75. 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 110 is my last, 120 in the room. 120 it is then, and 120 here at 120. 156.
120. That's a good result, so I've got my fingers crossed for Great Uncle Norman's Edwardian photo album, valued at £40 to £70.
With me at 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100 is my last, 110 in the room. 120 first bidding, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, and 10, 220, 230, 240, 240 here, thanks for the bid, £240, 240, anybody else, 240, 166.
So, £200 above.
£240, more than 3 times the top estimate. That's one for the family album.
So how are you after all that?
Really excited, really chuffed with how today's gone.
It's just been amazing. I mean, we've done an awful lot better than we thought.
Today at auction, Nikki made £588 after commission. And she can add to that the sale of jewellery at £3,445. That's a total of £4,033. And if Nikki clears her unit, she'll save herself another £1,000 a year.
It's fantastic.
Amazing. We can get the garden done now.
Easily, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's given me a kickstart to get rid of the rest of the stuff as well. So.
Really?
Yes, it's all planned for next week.
And look at now, you're a changed woman.
Yep, I think so.
Nikki's been on an emotional journey coming to terms with clearing out her inherited clutter, but she's managed to strike gold in her hoard, and now she and Ross will be able to sit back and really watch their garden grow.
Our hoarders have cleared up, cashed in, and can now see storage for the sensible solution it should be. Join me, Aggie McKenzie, next time on Storage Hoarders.